in here, and so I've been reading. I have about 11 books by the side of my bed, and this one is big. See, this one I bought because it was recommended on the Illuminatus Observer blog, his blog, as being like an encyclopedia of what the Illuminati maybe basically teaches themselves, but not you. Why am I having so much trouble with this? Okay, here we go. So this, when I read this, I just really wished I had known this in school. Not that it would have so much changed my life, but I don't know why they hold this stuff from us. But I just wanted to read it to you because it really fits in with why we see Isis drawn everywhere. Okay, the ancient, so it's chapter 4, the Ancient Mysteries and Secret Societies, part 3. The most famous of the ancient religious mysteries were the Eleusinian. I hope this is in focus. Let me see, is it going to be in focus? Come on, camera. Oh, there we go. Whose rites, let me see if I can get, so you can read it and I can read it. Whose rites were celebrated every 5 years in the city of Eleusis to honor Ceres, Demeter, Rhea, or Isis, and her daughter Persephone. The initiates of the Elusian school were famous throughout Greece for the beauty of their philosophic concepts and the high standards of morality, which they demonstrated in their daily lives. Because of their excellence, these mysteries spread to Rome and Britain. Later, the initiations were given in both these countries. The Eleusinian mysteries, named for the community in Attica where the sacred dramas were first presented, are generally believed to have been founded by Eumolpus about 1400 years before the birth of Christ, and through the Platonic system of philosophy, the principles have been preserved to modern times. So this, for me, is valuable information because finding out about this religion, like Mr. Manley could have, distorted his writing, of course, but finding out about this for me is interesting because it's before the Vatican took over the world. So that's very interesting. And it's also interesting to me that I'll read this whole thing to you, but they seem to have a school that is open to everybody at this time. They teach different levels according to your aptitude, but not according to it seems like they have thousands of people in this school. So this is not a time where they're hiding the mysteries. They're sharing the mysteries as people can integrate them. All right. So the rites of Ulysses. Did I read that? Okay, no. The rites of Ulysses. Okay, Eleusis, with their mystic interpretations of nature's most precious secrets, overshadowed the civilization of their time and gradually absorbed many smaller schools, incorporating into their own system whatever valuable information these lesser institutions possessed. Heckthorn sees in the mysteries of Ceres and Bacchus a metamorphosis of the rites of Isis and Osiris. And there's every reason to believe that the so-called secret schools of the ancient world were branches from one philosophic tree, which with its roots in heaven and its branches on earth, like the spirit of man, an invisible but ever-present cause of the objectified vehicles which give it expression. Just want to reiterate, I am not worshiping these people. I'm studying what the Freemasons know. I'm studying why Isis and Osiris are important. I never knew Isis and Osiris were important until I started looking at Google Earth. Okay, so if you're Christian and you're listening to this, I'm not going to go to hell for wondering about this. I'm just studying this. Now, Ceres, I didn't know this, is, I guess, another word for Isis. And I just saw a talk of David Wilcock that he gave where he says that NASA came out, and right or wrongly, like they might have been lying, but they said that there's a glowing pyramid on Ceres that's visible right now. So put that in your weird news folder and try to figure out whether that's true or not. Right, okay. The mysteries were the channels through which this one philosophic light was disseminated. I did some of these Gematria here. I should do this on a table, maybe. I wanted to show you that Ceres, with the Gematria that I the simple gematria. It's not the other gematria. I put marks next to it when I do the menorah gematria, but this has a core of 9 and then an outer core of 32, which for me is the upright, the evolved man. So this kind of goes with the idea that 923 could be the completion or the end of the devolving man. Just throwing that out there. Okay, Eumolpus, who is believed to be a founder here, I wanted to look at his numbers. So he has a center of 9, which is 27, and then his outer. This is going to be my new paying attention to the number 75. I always saw the 75 and I thought, gosh, 3/4. That's not very exciting. But it's 39 plus 36, which is the 2 inversions of this trinity. This number is very important as the seed of life, and numerically this is not the inversion of it, but pictorially you flip it up and down. It's an up and down mirror. So that added together is 75, and then when you add them all together, that's 100. That's a gateway of 102. So this 102 number, I'm not sure exactly what it means, but since this guy was the founder of this school, I am not surprised that he has a gateway number in his name. And this would be the 1 and the 2. And we know from Isis that the 1 and the 2 combine through a woman to become the 3rd. So that's like the Father and the Holy Spirit and the Son. The Son is the 3rd, and that would come through. Or in this case, maybe the Christed, the kingdom within, or the realization, the evolution to the point of being like a Christ, or being Christ-like, or being a perfected person. So I wanted to bring that to you. Okay, let's see what else is here. 50. Attica is 54. That's a 9. Eleusis has a inner core of 21, which is a 3. So that's a Trinity inner core. And that's the U, I've talked about in other videos, I think symbolizes the chalice. And I believe it's the upper part of the chalice. So Ella is 22. That is the 22 number. That's the level of the Ham, Abraham, Buckingham. That's the lower level of the person. The lower level. And then the 47 we have found is cis, and that is the combination. If you just watch the video that I just did about back to the books, pi and the alphabet, we see that 47 is 23 plus 24. Right. Okay, sorry, I had to do that in memory. Okay, 23 plus 24. So I had thought this was an agent number before, but now I'm seeing this as a combination of heaven and earth, because 23 in the menorah gematria is heaven, and 24 in the menorah gematria is earth. So I'm starting to see the 47 as an agent, and it could be an agent of good or bad, but it's the combination of heaven and earth. Now, the interesting thing about this word, because this is the name of this school, is that the 22, which is the lowest level, combines with the heaven and earth to make the 69, which is the keystone. And this is the 618, 816, 96, and we have 96 coming up in just a few days, and it's going to be 13 days from the day of the 86 market crash. So just want to bring that to your attention. I don't know what they have planned. I think it's actually a good day, but because it's a good day having to do with perfected man, I think that the dark agents are going to do something naughty. So anyway, we can keep an eye out for that. So isn't that interesting how this word breaks down? And this really, to me, confirms what we can learn through the numbers. Now the whole thing adds up to 90. And this has always been kind of a very dry number for me. But if you think of 90 as the addition of the Trinity, the 2, sorry about the focus. Okay, the 2 and the 1, or the chalice. And I have a bunch of, well, I have a playlist on chalice symbolism. Chalice is one of our most important symbols here. So if you would like to know more about chalice, please check out that playlist. So this is the combination of the upper chalice and the keystone is 90. And that, to me, makes sense because it's 9, which is the completion number. Raised, multiplied by 10, or raised. You know, okay, so let's just look at the symbolism of multiplying something by 10. It would be multiplying it by the upper and the lower combination, the 2 5s, the combined pentacle, okay? So it would be the completion multiplied by the upper and the lower. So you can kind of think of that as the symbolism of 10. And when these numbers are raised to that level, it almost symbolically includes the journey, the journey of the combination. And that's the journey that we're on here on Earth, where we balance the good and the evil, and we make our own choice. We decide what kind of agent we are, what kind of agent we combine heaven and earth here, and we decide for ourselves. All right, so Ceres is the Bacchus. Ceres is the Isis symbolism, and Bacchus, you know, this God has always been a turnoff for me. I'm not, but now I'm wondering if he's been smeared, because he is the god of wine, and Yahshua multiplied wine, and hereafter the church has been associated with wine. And there's a lot of grapevine type of symbolism, and so anyway, I'm just going to open my mind back up to this, because it could be that academics has smeared this symbolism. So I'm just going to open my mind back up to see what this possibly is. So BAC is 6, and CHUS is 48, which reduces to a 6, so that's a 6-6. And she is a 932, the completion of the upright. And he is, I would say, a man of the field. Where's my finger? Oh, there it is. He's a man of the field. Now, I would like you to think about the role of the male and female in just about every relationship. You often, you know, I could be wrong, but I think how it's supposed to be is that the woman in the relationship brings the intuition, she brings the farsightedness, she brings the compassion, and she brings the ideas that bring together, the inclusive ideas. She holds the family together, even if you have a difficult child or, you know, difficult circumstances. The woman is the agent of glue, basically. She holds it together. And the man is the practical one. He's the man, he's the one who will go and make the phone calls. He will answer the mail. He will speak to, you know, he will go and speak to the neighbor who's maybe causing difficulty. He's the practical one. He enacts through the field. Okay, so I just offer that to you, that these are both divine roles. We need this role on our earth to combine heaven and earth for an agent of good or evil, but especially good. And we need this role because without her, he is blind. And this is why the woman needs to trust the man. They need to be evenly yoked. The man needs to trust the woman, and this needs to be a harmonious relationship for the family to work very well. Okay, well, I just want to also show you that 48, which is the cus plus the 6, is 54, which is also a 9. And then when you add these two together, this is kind of what I'm getting to. When you add these, like this is a union, this is 106. Well, where have we seen this number? And it's also a gateway number, okay? it's almost like a gateway of 7, but it's raised to 2 powers of 10. So it would be like, you could kind of think of it as a 700, or you could think of it as the 1 is raised to 2 powers of 10, and the 6 is added. Well, this is the Philadelphia number. And originally I went to their site, you know, on Wikipedia. They changed their speed to 102, but for, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 days, it was 106 officially. But before that, it was something normal, something reasonable. And then they made that conductor the bad guy, like he was speeding. I don't think that's what was happening. I think he ran over a bomb, and it was perfectly placed to create perfect timing. Well, anyway, so since I found this number with the union of these, and this happened in Philadelphia, which is Phi, and that's the 816 number, and that has to do with blood sacrifice, the bride of Christ, blah, 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 right? Well, this is a bride of Christ type of idea. This is like a divine union type of idea. So then I ran all these numbers before, but this is late last night. I decided, well, I got to look at these numbers again. So I did Amtrak. The center of Amtrak is 39. And that's a 12. So you could think of that as an L, or a Lord, or a right turn from one dimension to another dimension, or a double 6. Okay, because a 12 has 6 on each side. Okay, so it has all that symbolism in there, in the tra part of it. This part is the 113, which is the Freemason hoax number. It's the Fukushima and the Freedom Tower number, and it combines conveniently into the 14, which is half of the diameter of time in which they allowed those buildings to stand. Okay, so, well, not coincidentally, they have another 14 on the other side. So we have a 14 valence field, if you think of this as a particle, where the outer field is a potential and the inner field is 12, right? So that's the 28. That's the number of years the buildings were allowed to stand. And these are twin 14s. Okay, well, so since Tra is a special number, I took it out to look at just Tra by itself. Oh yeah, so it's right here. Tra, and then in is 23. So train, sorry about my focus, train is like the bottom half of the Freemason symbol, which is the golden rule, or the square, and that's 12. So that's the first part here. I could do the hieroglyph of this too, and it would make sense. And then we have the 23 number. Very interesting, right? Also, 923. Okay, so look at this. So 9 adds to 3 to make a 12. If you take 3 away from 12, you get the 9 back out. So that's probably why they like this combination so much. Plus, this runs on trails, on rails. That has another Ra in it with an I. I just want to show you the Ra and the I. Okay, let me zoom in right here. The Ra and the I is a 819, and if you turn it upside down, it's a 816, and if you turn it backwards, it's a 618. So this will not stop. So the train really means something, and in the case of the Amtrak train, because of the coordinates, and I just did a video about this, it symbolizes the U.S. The U.S. is the bride of Christ right there. Okay, so TR by itself is 38, which it reduces to an 11, and the A is a 1, and then the N is 23, and all of that combines to an I. So this is a symbol of the world right here. This train symbolizes the eye, the apple. It says in the Bible, you're the apple of my eye. It talks about double torus fields right there. That's code. Here they're saying the train is the world. It is, in this case, the U.S. because of the coordinates that they chose. It has Phi in the middle of it. And it crashed in Philadelphia, which is Phi squared. and looks like Phi from the sky, because the Delaware runs right through it. A river runs through it, okay? Now, okay, so the eye symbol. Okay, so what I want to say about this is, if you go back to my Philadelphia videos, on this train, on the right side of this train, they took out its eye. They took out its right eye. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be the good eye or the bad eye, according to the Bible. Yahshua was crucified between the two eyes, which are the two worlds, the worlds of good and evil, crucified between that in the skull. And I believe that the crossing there is right next to the pineal gland, and I showed that in the Globus Cruciger video that I did. So this has to do with a lot of brain symbolism tied in here, okay? Just brain mapping. And I know that this is very confusing. I just want to say that in my personal experience, real events that you actually see in your real life are actually symbolic. I do think they constructed this one, but real events are symbolic. So it's not crazy to talk about, like, Yahshua actually could have been crucified on a hill named Golgotha, but it actually could have been a symbolic event, okay? So I'm not taking that away from what could have happened. I was not there. I think I might have been there. I might have been there. If you subscribe to my unlisted blog channel, Dandelion Unlisted, I have a video. The Nefertiti video talks about a past life from this time, and I'm not going to put that public. So if you want to know about that, we have to figure out how to get you on that unlisted readership, and it's very difficult because YouTube is blocking my comments and my messages. I'm not getting any messages, you guys. I'm going to go look again today, but all right. Well, anyway, wreck is very interesting. Okay, so first of all, Amtrak train is a 102. Okay, so that matches this guy, the starter, the gateway of a mystery school, you could say. Amtrak train is a gateway number of a 102. Okay. All right. Wreck. WR is a 923 or a 23-9, or you could say a 5-9. A 5-9 is a slave number, Gematria, and 9 to 5. Like Dolly Parton sings 9 to 5 a long time ago, and she trains everyone to think that it's noble and good to have a job and to work your whole life until you're dead. That's your goal in life. You see how brainwashable we are. I was the same way. I grew up, I wanted a job. It didn't work out for me. I wasn't supposed to have a job. I was supposed to read my whole life. So anyway, whatever, the universe wouldn't let me have a job. And now I understand why. But 59 is the number that they code on black people, and 95 is the number that they code on white people, but they're all in a slave group. Here's the Nefertiti number. I'm seeing this number a lot. This is the date that they brought Nefertiti out, and this is, she has a lot of this number inside. And also, I just want to show you, look, I was really confused, but Nefertiti, what the heck? What does it mean? I think it was Isis, I'm not sure. Or it's an incarnation of Isis, maybe it could be. But look at, I figured it out, I figured something out here, that Ek is a Ra, because it's 18, especially here, it's perfectly 18, well, here it's actually a 9 plus 1, which makes a 10, and that's also a Ra symbol, but it's also, it shows you that the 18 plus 1 is 19, which is Ra. Here, of course, it's actually a 10, but if you find the digital root of this number, that is a 10. So I think that this has to do, a wreck is symbolic of the completion of the de-evolved of Ra. Now, Ra would be the earliest, he's like the atom. So this would be the completion, like say, so he's like the Egyptian Adam, I'm coming to believe. And then later when we have Marduk Ra, that he just took a title, and all those people later, they just took the title of Ra or Adam. But I believe that Ra was the first creation after the Ankh, the four letters, the four sounds of the Ankh and their opposite, which is the Ogdoad, the sacred 8. This is why the 8 is a sacred number. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that the completion of the de-evolvedness of Ra would be kind of a wreck sort of a word, right? So, of course, since I saw the Ek, I had to check out Eckhart Tolle. So Ek has Ra. It's a little bit of a stretch because actually it's a 10. Oh, wait. No, it's not. It actually is. I'm sorry. I misread this. I misread the 11. It actually is a 19, so that's not a stretch. Okay, so Ek is Ra. Heart is 9. And it's an 8-1-1-8 mirror, which is like Nefertiti coming and going. It's like Nefertiti in a circle or something. When you add these two together, you have 46. 46 is the combination of the DNA. So here is interesting because we have the completion, I guess you could say the whole circle of Har, which in the simple gematria looks like the 8118, which I think could have to do with that Nefertiti is a symbol of Isis, and she has the phi on her head. Good Lord, I mean, really, I can see why people need a break after doing this. But we have the combination, like this word right here is kind of like a marriage, the bride of Christ, a marriage of divine type of ideas, where this would be the Adam, and this would be the Isis or the Eve. And then we have the combining of the DNA right here. And then Toll, yep, it has the Nefertiti number in it. It has 2015 in it. And the 2015 reduces to the I. Taking a deep breath. Plus it also goes to the 8. And then that's where we get the 811, which is the Nefertiti number. And then Toll, when you just add it straight up, you just add it all together, it's 64, which is an 8 times 8, and that's a cross. I have the little star here to remind me to make a video. All right, so I had to show you all that because let me see what I wrote here. Oh, I was wondering if this Umolpus guy is the teacher of righteousness, because in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which has the teacher of righteousness book, which they took out of the Bibles, or they suppressed it and burned it or whatever. Anyway, it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's a story about a teacher of righteousness who has a bunch of different names. He has a Egyptian name. In his Jewish name is Joshua, which is very, very close to Yahshua. Anyway, he was a teacher that talked about, he made the royals very mad because he talked about that you don't need to be a royal to have eternal life. Does that sound familiar? Because that's what Yahshua teaches. So he says that you already have eternal life. You will come back again. And he also said that he would come back again, and he told his followers to watch for him. Well, he was killed in the Holy of Holies. And the only way that he could even be inside the Holy of Holies is if he was an heir to Moses. So that makes him an heir to Moses. Now, Moses is believed to be Akhenaten. And Akhenaten brought a Hebrew religion through to the Egyptians, upsetting the apple cart of the Amun-Ra priesthood, which was, yes, it was corrupt for sure corruption. However, It also tried to erase all of the Ankh knowledge, all of the original sound knowledge. So I don't believe that it was really such a great deal after all. And it introduced the worship of the Aten, which people are saying is the sun. No, it's not the sun. Christians, you cannot simplify everything by hating sun worshippers, because I don't think they exist. These guys, the Aten is their planet of origin, and it's the sign of their coming planet. Okay? So we need to study the teacher of righteousness in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I think that this timing, 1400 years, 14 centuries before Christ, was the timing of Moses, his heir in the Egyptian world was called Tutankhamun. So try that on for size. Anyway, so Tutankhamun was killed by a blow to the back of the head. Joshua was killed in the Holy of Holies by a blow to the back of the head of an evil priest whose name escapes me right now. In the Tutankhamun prophecies by Maurice Cotterell, he shows you that Tutankhamun was in possession of the Ark of the Covenant. He was the heir to Moses. So we have to think for ourselves, lovies. We have to think for ourselves. If you're a Christian and you're listening to this, Yahshua is not going to blame you for putting together the clues that the Vatican tried to burn. Okay? I mean, read the Bible. I mean, actually, read the Bible with a grain of salt, but read the Bible because it talks about the Vatican in there. Okay, where did I leave off? So that's what I wanted to say. This guy could have been this could be the Greek name for Tutankhamun. This could be the Greek name for Joshua. That would be his Semitic name. And then Tutankhamun would be the Egyptian name. Okay, here we go. It's interesting that this is 8668. These are not accidents. Not so much that Manly P. Hall went through and made sure all the page numbers matter, but I noticed this when I'm creating videos. My videos have symbolic numbers, and so I know it just arises. Okay, I'm going to read this. And their initiates, resplendent with an intellectual and spiritual understanding, were the perfect fruitage of the divine tree, bearing witness before the material world of the recondite source of light and truth. The rite of Eleusis, I'm going to say Eleusis, was divided into what was called the lesser and the greater mysteries. According to James Gardner, lesser mysteries were celebrated in the spring, probably at the vernal equinox, in the town of Agre, and the greater in the fall. I'm going to look that up in Google Earth. At the time of autumn equinox at Eleusis, or Athens. Okay, we're going to go there too in Google Earth. It is supposed that the former was given annually and the latter every 5 years. This could be a long video. There's so much to say. So what I need to say right here is that I just read a book about the Toltec burial, the Mayan burial of Lord Pakal. And I want to show that to you in the back to the books. But in his tomb, they buried 1 female and 5 males. And what the interpretation by Maurice Cotterell was that, okay, this is an unusual man. I don't think so. Maurice Cotterell, if he knows the truth, he distorts it sometimes. But this is these symbolisms of 1 and 5 and these churches come from Atlantis, and they are at the root of many intact, what you would call pagan religions. So it's interesting that the Vatican came along to kill everything pagan, and even today Christians will vilify pagans, but they don't vilify the church for killing pagans. No, that's not bad. It's not bad to kill pagans. It's just bad to be pagan or have any pagan knowledge. Well, my assertion is that pagan knowledge is the various interpretations of the religions of Atlantis that were carried over. And that in the New World, in the next age, the Vatican did not tolerate that. And the Vatican could be working hand in hand with Marduk Ra, who I believe is still alive. Long-lived fallen angel. The fallen angels were not having it because they did not want people to have this knowledge. They wanted to have everybody worship and follow their religion. So Christians, when you think that pagans are bad and they deserve to die, you need to look at yourself in terms of the gentleness of the teacher Yahshua, okay? Because I believe that Yahshua came in many forms, including this teacher of righteousness. I have to cough. Other teachers, okay? So while you are saying that you love Jesus, who is not the right name, that is the name of Zeus, Marduk Ra, and it's not a coincidence that you're saying amen to salute Marduk Ra. Please Google that. Watch my video on Jesus. Friends don't let friends worship serpents. While you think you're on the right page, you are pushing against the teacher who came to many different places, because the teacher would not come to one place, because that would be wrong. Anybody who is wise enough to see that you do not go to a primitive people and give the teachings only to one and then cause war. No, he wouldn't do that. Soapbox. All right, here we go. Okay, so these are the ancient teachings of Atlantis, and they also arose through the Mayan. So the one, when they celebrate the former, which is the lesser, sorry, I'm lost. The former was given annually and the latter every 5 years. So the lesser mysteries were given annually and the latter every 5 years. So this would be a ratio of 5 of the lesser to 1 of the greater. Now that makes sense, because you're going to have more people who need the lesser ones repeated. That makes sense, right? Well, in the tomb of Lord Pakal, they have 5 males to 1 female. Actually, I'm not sure. It could be 5 females to 1 male, but I think it's the other way. I think it's 1 female. And they are talking about, I think that this is an allusion to the lesser and the greater mysteries. And the woman being the 1, 2, and the 3 would be the greater mysteries. Just throwing that out there. Everybody don't get mad at me, okay? If you get mad at me, it means that you have an anger problem. It's not something that you want to like advertise in public with your comments. I have an anger problem and I can't take information. I think that would be embarrassing to write that, you know. So don't leave me comments like that. I'll just block you. The lesser mysteries were dedicated to Persephone. Okay, so this is the daughter of Ceres. In his Eleusinian and Bacchic mysteries, Thomas Taylor sums up their purpose as follows. The lesser mysteries were designed by ancient theologians, their founders, to signify occultly the condition of the unpurified soul. So that makes sense. The lesser mysteries, that's why you do the teaching more often. It's the unpurified soul invested with an earthly body and enveloped in a material and physical nature. So this is all of us. Now, the egoic nature wants to say, here's the division, this is the black and this is the white, and you're over there and I'm over here. But this is all of us. We have all walked the unpurified soul path in this school. I believe that this earth is a school. And this is a sacred path. Just because you walk the unpurified soul path doesn't mean that you need to like get on your knees and pray like the Vatican will tell you that you're unworthy. No, you are worthy to walk this difficult path. And I think that you're a hero. And I don't buy all that guilt crap. I think they want you to feel guilty. And because they want you to feel guilty, I think we should decide not to feel guilty. Just because they want you to. So stop. Just purify yourself and know that any unpurified things that you have done has been a part of your unpurified path. All right. The legend used in the lesser rites is that of the abduction of the goddess Persephone, the daughter of Ceres, by Pluto, the lord of the underworld, or Hades. While Persephone is picking flowers in a beautiful meadow, the earth suddenly opens and the gloomy lord of death, riding in a magnificent chariot, emerges from its somber depths, grasping her in his arms, carrying the screaming and struggling goddess to his subterranean palace, where he forces her to become his queen. Well, this is the upper world is the upper chalice, and the lower world is where we live, in the lower chalice. If you look at my Astana videos, it shows the upper palace, and it shows a fetus over there on the other side of the river. And then it shows the incarnation tube to the lower chalice, and it shows the 22 and everything. Please see my Astana video if you'd like to see that. It's really pretty amazing. So this is a story about the upper chalice and the lower chalice, where they took Persephone, daughter of Ceres, and she was brought to the lower world by Pluto. All right. For an integrated teaching, we have to stop and to learn what the codes have told us about these words. Okay, so here's Pluto. It has a chalice in the center. That shouldn't be shocking after what I just told you. PL is 1612, and it's also a 616 if you decline. Hold on. Yeah, if you... No, it's not. It's just... Okay, never mind. I don't know where I was going. I lost that thread. Okay, so anyway, it's a PL, which is the 28. This is the half of the 14. This is the rotation of the sun is visible from the earth. Lots of things. Over here we have the I, the TU. This is the U. This is also the UN. This is why the UN has a map different from what they teach you in school for its logo. And it has the Roman leaves around it. It shows you that it's Roman. It's run by the Vatican. Okay, well, you add those two together. That is a 63. So this is the combination. So you could also see this. I wonder if this Hades story has to do, because I've talked to you before about in Atlantis and in the ancient Egyptian times, they were in the 6th dimension. Now we are in the 3rd. So I wonder if this story has to do with pulling the spirit through down to the 3rd, because this is a motion from the 6th to the 3rd in the outer valence field here, combining the sun and the eye, which is the lower dome. So it's almost like the lower dome falls to the 3rd. And then also this upper chalice, it does reduce to a 3. So there's a couple of 3s in there. But then if you add it together, I want to make sure my math is right. I don't know if I can do this on camera though. I found a blind, U plus T is blindness. So that is, there's multiple ways to find the roots of this word. But anyway, really quick. So this would be 47. UTO is 47. Now we know what 47 means. So Pluto is a solar agent combining heaven and earth. Okay, and he pulls Persephone to the lower world. Now, if you add 63 and 47, I did the math wrong. The 7 and the 3 is a 10. Carry the 1. That's a 101 number. I can't hold a pen in this book at the same time. Maybe I can. Oh, no, I can't pause this. I wish it would pause. Okay, oh gosh. I wonder if I'll remember. Okay, 101. I think that's a 101. Did it wrong right here. Let me just do this here. Okay, now here it looks like an 84. Okay, sorry you guys. I'm not sure. I think it is an 84. Okay, sorry about the spastic math right there. Okay, what else did I want to show you? I wanted to show you Psyche. Okay, we got to get to the other words before I show you those things. All right, here we are. Okay, so we just talked about Pluto taking Persephone down. This is to Hades. Oh, I have Hades somewhere. Where did I put Hades? Hades was really amazing. Oh, it's over on this page. Let me show you Hades real quick. Can you see that? Okay. The center of Hades is the dome. That's the 4. That's the lower chalice. Okay. So it's interesting. The story talks about he brings her to the lower world. That's the D in God. Okay. Talked about the G and the O. So try to bring that in. Okay, then over here, the A and the E combines to a 6, and the H and the S combines to a 27. Now, so all of this adds to a 37. But the valence fields here are more important, I think, than the total. But actually, 37 is very important because that is the 12th prime. They go nuts. They love their 37s and their 73s and their 1221 primes because 73 is the 21st prime. So that's the root of the 37 here when you add this 6, 4, and 27. Okay, so it has to do with the structure of our world, the star matrix. Okay, well, I wanted to show you that. I want to show you these fields. So say you take the 3 center letters and you put the A and the E, which is the 1 and the 5, inside the dome. Now the A is symbolic of the all-seeing eye, and the I is also symbolic of the star of Ra, and then the E is the star, the pentacle, the upright, and the downward evolving man, and it's also the trident. So that's why I wrote it like that. Now, the H is the infinite loop of time. So I drew that here. Because people are in the dome, you go in the dome, and then you go out of the dome. Your spirit goes in and out for each of your lessons. And the S is the sign of Ra. So that is the atom. So this talks about Adam in the dome. Do you see how it all goes together? Atom in the dome for the infinite loop of time. This is another way of writing it because I was looking at the A and the E as kind of 8s. Do you see how they look like 8s if you lay them right down here on the dome, and like this just right here, this would be the AED, that hieroglyph right there. And then you could draw the H on the outside, and then I didn't put the snake in here. That's the Ra, which is the serpent in the chalice. The serpent, I think, is the fallen angel that combines with Adam, and that's why Ra is the combination of these things. Very interesting. I hope you guys like that. I was really amazed when I saw the Hades line up like that. Okay, guys, well, there's going to be a part 2, so stay tuned and I'll tell you more about this. I'm going to pause it and start again.